right, for this painting, we're going to make a gradiated background that goes from white and slowly gets more and more color into it. We still wanted to keep it nice and light because this is a spring sort of theme here, but we're going to start very light and just get a little bit darker by the top. So different values of one color by making tints of one color. So for this one, I used yellow. I just made that one. And now I'm going to use green. So you really only need the color you're going to use plus some white. You're going to need a paintbrush. You can get water, which I also have here, because I washed my yellow out. But if you make a mistake, you might want to wash your brush out. You probably won't need it. And if you do wash it out, you're going to want to dry it on some paper towels because we don't want a wet brush. So I have my paper here, and the entire time I'm painting this gradient, we're going to want to make horizontal strokes. Horizontal. That word goes across the paper, a nice long word. Horizontal lines go across. So I'm going to get some white, just some white on my brush, and I'm going to start painting the bottom. I want to imagine your paper is in half and then in half again. So a fourth of your paper, or about 25% of your paper at least, needs to be white. So we're going to start just working those horizontal lines of white in there. I don't need to wash my brush out, I'm just getting more paint until I get at least up to what I think is 25%, okay? Now I'm going to make my first tint of green. So I'm going to take, I have this little container of white here. I'm going to put just the tiniest amount of green in there. So I'm going to get a little bit of green on my paintbrush, really not much, and try to mix it into that white. I mean, I want this to be super light, so it's going to take a minute, but you can see it's starting to make a green in there, really light. Once I'm happy that it's mixed well, then I'm going to overlap this. Okay, I'm not going to have it start here. I'm going to go a little bit over this white, and then I'm going to bring it up to another, quarter of the paper, a fourth of the paper. So that's the halfway mark at this point. So at least up to the halfway mark. Once I've gone all the way across, then my paintbrush will start to get really dried out with paint, like there's not much paint left. Then I'm going to go back down here when I don't have much paint on my brush and just kind of blend it again by just going over top of those spots again with horizontal strokes, working my way up. Okay, and now that has a nice lovely little blend. So let me show you that again. I'm going to get a little bit more green this time, put it in there. Looks like a different green. Perfect. I'm going to go right on top of here, a little bit onto this one, and then I'm going to work my way up until I'm got only like a quarter of the paper left, or 25% of the paper left up there. My brush is pretty much out of paint at this point, so when it's pretty dry, then I can come down here at this difference and go over top of that to help kind of hide it and blend it in. And now I'm going to work my way up. And my paper is almost done. A little bit more green. I really don't need this top to be as green as this. I still want to keep it nice and light. Don't think I have enough paint, unfortunately. Okay. So I'm going to overlap a little bit and then work my way up, just like I have this whole time. Unfortunately, I don't have enough paint, but I'm going to work my way up here until my entire paper is filled. I got to try to match that color I just had. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so once I'm again kind of get my brush cleaned out here, I have scrap paper in my background, then I can come down here, go over that line, and just kind of help to blend this all together by working across all the way up. I noticed this kind of like, maybe that's kind of a strong line, so I'm gonna see if that paint is wet enough to still kind of blend it, which it looks like it kind of is. And then just gonna let that dry until I'm ready for the next step.